Great. Great. So I posted the YouTube link as well. Great. So I think we can probably get started now. Meghna, are you recording? Okay, you are. Welcome everybody. Latanti, you're
Sorry. Before you start, Ansh, the usual thing that we do, we want everybody to come on video, please. So, we know we're talking to real people, actual people. You're not some bot or something, switch on your bot. Hi, everybody. Oh my God, is it early morning somewhere, late night somewhere, evening? Hi. Okay,
Ansh,
all
can
of you
you
please
give me
come on
permission
like
to
video for
record?
Oh, yeah.
like 1 minute, please. All of you, please come on video for 1 minute. We just want to.
Okay, I should. All right, cool. It's recording.
Sure, you are from various different countries. Be nice, and maybe I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe tag their names with the countries or something. I don't know. We figure out a way to do that.
Yeah.
But okay, all of you, can you please smile and take me a picture? Okay, we have 3 screens full. So all of you, please come on video. Nikita, Rihanna, hi Rihanna. Nikita, Neha, Samskruti, Ikram, Alan, Sherry. Yep, very nice to see you guys. Smile, all of you. One more shot here. Now on to the third screen. Nice smile. Okay, some of you don't want to come on video, that's fine, but okay, good. I'm done.
Great.
You can go ahead.
Yeah. So welcome everybody to today's StarHacks Workshops. Thank you for registering for our hackathon. We got over 500 registrations, so thank you all for joining us here today. Some of you are registered for the actual hackathon, which is going to happen on August 7th to 8th, and others are on the wait list right now, but that's still fine. We wanted to make the workshops and the Women in Tech panel, which is going to be amazing, available to everybody and to a wider audience. So we've invited you all here today. So just before we kind of get started, I'll be showing you the schedule, giving a kind of an introduction and a quick tutorial on how to join teams on the Discord if you're part of the hackathon, and then delving right into the stuff that we have planned for today. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. There we go. Okay, so here you can see my Discord screen. So this is kind of going to be our schedule, at least for today. So the first workshop is going to be held by me, and it's essentially going to be how you can win a hackathon, right? So I'll be giving an introduction to what a hackathon is, what do you actually do, and then jumping right into how you can win one, right? And what would be the proper conduct if this is the first time that you're attending a hackathon. The second would be our Women in Tech panel, which we're really proud to have. And so that one, Meghna is going to be emceeing, and she's going to be, asking a lot of wonderful questions and giving you all career advice as well as life advice as to how, you can get really good at programming and get a great, software engineer career. And finally, at 9:30 a.m., we're going to have Aryan Vora, who's going to be hosting an Intro to HTML workshop. And in this workshop, you guys will be learning the basics of how to develop a website. And tomorrow, we're going to be continuing, basically the basics of how you can develop a website with Tevin, who's going to be giving us an intro to CSS and an intro to JavaScript. So that's going to be that's going to be our schedule for today. But before we get started with the first thing, which is how to win a hackathon, I do want to quickly show people who are registered for the hackathon how you can join a team. So if you scroll down here, there's a spreadsheet. And in this spreadsheet, you're going to have a bunch of different things that are going to essentially show you what your name is and what your team number is. So if I am, say I am part of, say I'm Ayushi Route, then my team number will be 22. right? And so on and so forth. So everybody will have their own team number. Say that for right now, my name is Ansh Gupta and I have, and my team number is 23. Then what I would do is I would go down here to the hashtag join team channel. And I would essentially, I'm not sure if the bot is on right now, but I would just type in join 23 like that. And it would add me to that team. So if you have not joined your team already, please go ahead and do so. And if you accidentally joined the wrong team, you can always type in !leave, and that will remove you from that team. So please make sure to do that as soon as possible, because teams have already started talking. You can see here that there's a bunch of teams and they've started talking. So go ahead and register as fast as possible so that we can make sure that you are, okay, thank you, Rochelle, for doing it. So yeah, you can go ahead and do that right now so that you can join a team. But any questions you can put in chat as to what, okay, I don't see anything. So great, let me open up.
Make sure to join teams as soon as possible. Let's try to have everyone in there by tonight in PST.
Yeah. If you filled out our team registration form before, then you can see that you'll be placed with your own team. But if you have not, then we've, with a variety of factors like, age, country, skill level, we've placed you all in teams so that you can go ahead and oh, okay. So I'm getting some questions. Hey, I haven't taken part in this hackathon. This is my first time. So what do I do? So Emanuela, I would say we've been sending everybody emails for now. So if you read through the emails carefully, there's a bunch of instructions on what to do. For example, joining Discord is one of them. So Discord is a place where we'll all communicate for the hackathon and we'll send you all updates. That's where you submit your projects and things like that. So Emanuela, please read through the emails that you've been getting carefully in order to make sure that you get everything set up. We have video tutorials on how to do everything from joining the Discord, and you'll be fine even if this is your first time. A lot of people are first timers here, so don't worry at all. So yeah, any other questions? I noticed somebody's asked me a question about myself. I realized that I did not give an introduction. Hi, I'm Ansh Gupta. I am an incoming senior at Washington High School here in Fremont, California. I'm also the current president of the Shooting Stars Foundation, which is the organization that's actually hosting this hackathon for everybody. We're a global nonprofit that works to empower underprivileged students all over the world. And we'll be talking more about that as well. So yeah.
And Ansh Gupta has won a number of hackathons. He's been the leader. He's won a number of hackathons. He's more than eligible to run this hackathon.
So yeah, so I'll be basically showing you guys today how to win a hackathon. So let me get started on that. Great. So welcome everybody to today's How to Win a Hackathon presentation. So today I'll be showing you what a hackathon actually is, as well as how you can win one, right? And what would be the kind of the proper conduct that you can do. Because there are some things that you really need to keep in mind, especially considering that this is a very limited time event. So the first thing that you need to understand about a hackathon is that really it's kind of a, it's a place where you have to kind of look deep into yourself and understand what you want to build, right? So come up with an idea that kind of resonates with you. Think about an issue that's important to you and see how you can apply technology to actually solve it, right? So, say that I'm really passionate about, for example, harassment, right? Then I would develop an app or a website that could help people with that issue, right? So we're really looking for something, projects that are software that can like really help other people, based on whatever issue is important to you, right? So we look at a variety of factors. And so you usually have 3 to 4 people in your team, and you all kind of have 24 hours to develop a very basic prototype for what your idea is, right? So it's all about that idea and kind of like what are you passionate about as a person, and what do you want to build? Really, we all understand that bunch of you have not coded before. A hackathon, while yes, it is important that you code and you make something that's software related, it is about that idea and to make sure that you have a really great idea that can help a lot of people. So yeah, that's basically what a hackathon is. Meghna, if you can any questions in the chat about what about the presentation, that'd be great. So, so the first thing you need to understand is that in a hackathon, even though it might seem daunting, oh, you know, we want you to build a big website or app, it's nothing like that, right? We understand that you only have 24 hours. So all we're really looking for is a prototype, right? A proof of concept that just shows that, you know, your idea is really cool and viable, right? So what does this really mean? It means that you need to focus more on how it looks on the front, right? Because the judges at the end of the day, they're really just going to be looking at what you've presented, right? What you've made. So, you know, focus more on how the website looks. If you are a person who likes to code a lot and, you know, makes a lot of backend stuff, don't worry too much about like the full functionality of making every single button work and like, you know, every single, you know, feature of the website work. That's fine. You don't need to do that, right? But if you can show us what it might look like and what the website might function like at the end of the day, then really that would be the most essential thing for the judges, right? Because they can get a much better idea of what if we give you 3 months, what can you produce, right? So for example, like that. So you need to kind of think about think about it in that perspective, right? So if my idea is to, you know, build an online retail store for women or something like that, right? Maybe I don't need to make every button functional. Maybe I don't need to make the search bar functional, right? Because that would make it really hard to make a whole search bar that can, you know, search a bunch of stuff, right? Maybe I can just make a few buttons functional to show what a user who is coming there to shop might feel like and what they might do, you know, in their process of shopping and what makes it easy for them, right? So you don't need to make a whole new Amazon or something like that. So focus a lot on how the prototype will look like. Um, Now, what you must do is that when you kind of have an idea, right, you really need to focus on the must-haves to make sure that your idea succeeds as much as possible, right? So, for example, right, there are some things called must-have features and some things that are like, okay, well, it'll be nice to have them, but they're not really necessary for the product to work fully, right? So, for example, in an online retail store, what you might need to have for a must-have is you probably need to have a catalog, right? A web page where it shows a catalog of all the products. That's a must-have, right? You need to show that. You need to have a feature where, like, if you click on one product, then it'll take you to a new page, and you can like see all the details about the product. That's probably another you know, must-have feature, and probably like the click now, where you can actually click the shop now button, and it takes you to page. That's probably a must-have. But like, you don't really need to focus on things like a login, right? Like, login is not a must-have. Like, it'll definitely be nice to have, but you know, even if you don't have it, like, it's not as if you'll lose an understanding of what your product actually is. So really focus on what you actually need out of your idea, in order to make sure that, you know, you have a thing that you can really demonstrate at the end of the day, and you're not wasting time, because you need to make sure that like you only have like 24 hours. So start thinking about how they will appear on the prototype as well, right? So before you kind of just jump into the code, because a lot of it is what you're going to be doing is you're going to be writing code in HTML and CSS. They're not daunting languages, but they're sometimes very abstract, right? Like, you can't really think about how your code is going to translate into what it'll actually look like. So what you want to do is that you want to go ahead and maybe draw a design out, you know, maybe with your teammates, just open up even a Microsoft Paint screen would be fine. Sometimes that's what I do, right? You just share your Microsoft Paint screen and you just start drawing off what your website might look like at the end of the day. Even though you don't have to make a website, you can totally make an app or something different. Throughout these workshops, we're mainly going to be teaching how you can make a website. So yeah, you can definitely go ahead and do that, and ensure that, you know, your design is something that looks cool and looks nice to you and is very simplistic. Don't try to make it very fancy, because that's going to waste a lot of time as well. So those are some essential things that you should keep in mind whenever you're kind of, you know, focusing on the stuff that you really need to make at that very moment. Now, here are some presentation tips as well. So what happens at the end of the day, you might be wondering, okay, I've made this project. What do I do with the project? You take the project, whatever you've coded, and you present it to the judges, right? So you go into a breakout room with the judges, or you'll just go into a meeting with the judges, and you present to them live, right? But there's a certain tactic of presenting that will make you your project stand out more, because in the end, you know, coding is important, but it is about how you present your code, right? It's about how you present your project and the problem that really matter at the end, as to, like, you know, who which winner is selected, right? If even if the product is really good, if the presentation is not good, then the judges won't have any idea why the project is so good, right? So the first thing that you need to do is that you really need to elaborate on the problem, right? To show us show us why your solution is even important, and not just some like really obtuse problem that you're just tackling that like doesn't really make any sense. Make sure that the other person can understand and empathize with whatever you're trying to solve, right? If it's harassment, show data, show personal stories of the problem, so that the other person can understand why you want to tackle something like this, right? Maybe you can even talk about why you're passionate about this problem, right? If you have any personal stories, then that would be a really great motivator factor as well. It'll help you really stand out in the eyes of the judges, where they'll be like, oh yes, I remember the participant who had this sort of problem, and here's how they fix it. So that makes it a much stronger story when you're actually giving your hackathon presentation. When you're presenting your solution, you really don't want to have a solution that's kind of tangent to the problem, right? In the fact that it's somewhat related to the problem, but like it's really not. And so that will really kill your presentation. So think about, present your solution as really the savior to the problem, right? It's a direct attack at whatever you're trying to solve, right? And so think about a knight in shining armor who's like, coming in and like, basically saving the day, right? So think about your solution like that, present it like that, even whenever you're kind of doing it. So when you elaborate on the problem, you want to make sure that you kind of give the best impression of what that problem is, and then make sure that your solution directly tackles that problem, and is really the savior, or shows why that would at least partially solve the problem, or help out with the situation to make sure more people can be helped as to whoever's facing that problem. And the final two things are more based on your presentation and your slides. Now, I know in this presentation there's a lot more text, so I'm kind of breaking my own advice, but that's only because I need to share this presentation at the end. But when you're making your own presentation, please make sure that you have a lot of images, mainly a lot of images on your slide. Because if you just have a bunch of text, then people are going to be absorbed in just reading the text. You're probably noticing yourself doing that already right now, because I have so much text on the screen. But really, don't put so much text. Maybe put like 3 bullet points or something. But it's all about the images and kind of visualizing what you have, right? And your images can even be pictures of your screenshots of your website. But you need to make sure that you have a lot more images than text, because people are going to get bored reading text. And the final thing is, sometimes people have great presentations, they have great products, but they really just don't have the same energy as somebody else does, and the same excitement as somebody else does about their project. So really, if you are excited, then the audience is excited as well most of the time, right? So if you speak with the passion, if you speak with voice modulations, and you're not just a monotone person, then the other audience and the judge will be a lot more excited. If you can show the passion that you have for your own project, then the other person will also be passionate as well. Let me just pause my screen share. So yeah, I think those were the main things. There are a few other tips that I don't have on this presentation that I didn't have time to add. The main thing is that you really need to manage your time. I think that's extremely important, because what happens in these 24-hour hackathons, obviously you're not going to be staying up for the whole 24 hours. So we expect you to sleep for sure, right? But what's going to be happening is that you're probably going to be working maybe 12 to 14 hours, obviously with breaks. Spend how much ever time you need to when you're working on this. But 14 hours to make a whole website is a lot, right? Especially if you're a beginner. So you really want to manage your time well. Now there are 3 to 4 people on your team, so you need to manage that as well. If a person is really good at art, you want to make sure that they're working on the design while you get set up with the code, right? If one person's really good at coding, or they want to learn more about coding, please make sure to put them on the code itself. And Aryan will be sharing more tips as to how you can collaborate with other people when you're coding, right? And essentially making sure that everybody is kind of splitting up the work like in a good manner, because if just 1 or 2 people are doing all the work, then it really does not kind of give full potential to what your product could be. So please make sure to do that whenever you are kind of doing your hackathon. Okay. And I think that is it. Becca, am I missing any other hackathon tips? Would you have any hackathon tips for students?
I'd say this is a really, really good chance to make a lot of friends, especially across country. So have some fun.
Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah, actually, I forgot to mention that. Yes, this is a competition, kind of, not really, right? Everybody's a winner by the time they leave because, before the hackathon and after the hackathon, it's amazing how much people can learn and grow just by creating one project. So, everybody I hope that everybody can really gain a lot out of this. Always go higher, always, even if you know how to code. I know some of you are people who already know how to code. If you know how to code, please pick a project that you don't have no idea how to do, right? Don't pick a project that you know how to do. It's not going to be fun, right? Pick a project that you have no idea how to do and it's really daunting at first, and just figure it out, right? And you're going to have more fun that way. With your, think about your hackathon teammates as friends. They're all in this, nearly in the same age group as you. You probably, found them when you were talking to them, or we've assigned them to you. So please make sure that you're just really having fun. If you're coming from outside and you maybe are not registered with this hackathon, but you're still kind of looking to host, or you're still kind of looking to go to other hackathons, or maybe come to a future StarHacks hackathon. I think we're having a few others very soon in this year. So make sure that you kind of find friends and and like you have fun with them, no matter what's happening, even if it's not working, even if it's frustrating. Don't lose your cool, right? It's perfectly fine. It's just a fun thing at the end for you guys to explore. Really, it's all about developing a passion for coding and empowering women in tech. So have fun with your code, right? Because you can do a lot of things. You can design, you can make whatever you want with code. So just have fun. Yeah, anything else, make it out?
No, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me think.
Any questions from the participants?
Will you be having another hackathon too? I joined too late to be able to participate in this one. Yes, actually, we do have one that's being planned. I think we'll have to release more details about that. It's happening pretty soon, I think. Just maybe, no, I'm not sure of the complete details because we're still planning it out. But yeah, maybe in in the next few months, we'll be having another one. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other things. Yeah, okay. Actually, I have 5 more minutes. So I'll talk about one more thing, which is actually coming up with ideas, because that's very important as well. You want to make sure, because that the first step you do is coming up with an idea. And all throughout this week, don't just think that you have to make an idea during the hackathon. Basically, the rules are, before the hackathon, you can do how much ever preparation you want, except you can't code anything. So you can't write code, but you can do a lot of other prep. So the main thing with that is mainly coming up with a hackathon idea, which is the biggest thing. So you want to make sure that you're calling with your teammates. You're setting up calls. Hey, can I call you maybe on Discord? On Discord, you can call other people. Actually, let me go ahead and show that, because I don't think a lot of people know that. But okay, so in this team one right here, right, you can see that everybody, all of these channels that are created, they're all personal, right? So team one, I'm an organizer, so I can see these chats, but if you're on team two, you won't be able to see team one's chat. So, but what's going to happen there is that you can click this little speak button right here, and you can actually join a voice call and talk with other people, right? You can even turn on your video there. So if I turn off my video here, yeah, so you can even video call with people. You can share your screen and show them what you're seeing as well. So definitely you can talk in a Discord as well. Just click this little speaker icon. If you want to click disconnect, you can disconnect as well, and you leave the call. So definitely you can just go ahead and set up these calls with your friends, and talk through what ideas would be good for you to explore during this hackathon, right? And so whenever you're coming up with ideas, you want to make sure that whatever idea that you're coming up with really has a decent problem that you're actually solving, right? So okay, so the theme of this hackathon is the future woman. Now that we've intentionally left it very vague because we want to give you creative freedom about what you can want to do, but essentially when we say the future woman, you want to imagine what women and their interactions with society and technology will be like in the future, right? And so if we think about it from that angle, ensure that whatever idea that you're coming up with, A, kind of fits in well with that theme, right? And B, really tries to solve a good problem, right? So whatever your problem may be, or if you have a good idea, make sure to do some research on that problem to make sure that it's really important and it can help a lot of people. The bigger the problem, it's usually the better. But also don't pick a problem that's like really really big. Like I know a lot of people. This is not really limited to like a woman in tech, but like people sometimes like try to solve like very broad problems like impoverish or like poverty or something like that, and that usually ends up with something like the problem is so broad that like the judges have a hard time understanding it. But something good problems like I'm not talking about women in tech, but if you had anything, a good problem might be perhaps trying to help out people who have HIV or AIDS, right? Or perhaps trying to work on, oh, how can we distribute vaccines better in Japan, because in Japan people are not getting their vaccines properly. Or if you can pick something that's specific, something that's close to you would be better, right? Something that you've maybe experienced in your lifetime, or maybe you've seen with your own eyes. That also is a really good thing. If that is not maybe applicable to you, I know people like if you cannot come up with any idea that is like I've really experienced this, that's fine. You can pick something that 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 other people have experienced, that you've heard a lot about, and that's also good as well. So yeah, those are the main things. And yeah, I think I only have 2 more minutes left. Megan, if you want to start getting ready. So the main task is to build a website to solve the problem. The website as a solution. Yeah, yeah, that is a correct statement, Lena. Now the website, you might think, okay, if I pick a really big problem, I don't know how to solve it with a website. A website, it does not really need to be something where like, it has some like really complicated technology behind it. It can even be a website where it's a hub for information, right? Where people can come and learn more about the website. It can be an awareness spreading website as well. So if my problem is, harassment, then I can talk about, or cyberbullying or something like that. I can, have a website where I, kind of, there's a lot of information, a lot of help, a lot of resources for the person to come and they can learn more about the problem. They can understand how they can get help. So that's also a perfectly fine way to tackle a problem, right? Spreading awareness. So is it similar to setting up the okay, so Rihanna, the problem, you have to come up with your own kind of idea and your own problem, right? So it can be anything really. The theme is the future woman, right? But you can make anything you want in that umbrella term, right? You can make something about being able to make sure that feminine products are accessible to everybody, right? Or making sure that you can find your place around work or something like that, right? It can be a wide variety of things. We're really looking for a creative idea. So yeah, we won't give you a problem. The theme is already out, which is the future woman. So yeah, that's basically how that's going to go. Is it similar to setting up an organization to help the cause? Not really. It's more about developing a technology solution to the problem, right? So for example, some of the problems that I've solved before, or not solved really, but made a project about. So one time, when COVID-19 was hitting, unemployment, and a lot of people were getting unemployment. I thought that basically people who work, jobs like they work at grocery stores or something like that, right? Like they don't really get jobs that are tailored to them. So we made a job finder that can, like, if you're like really good at leadership or you're really good at working with customers, then it'd find you jobs based on those soft skills. That so you could help unemployment in that way. Another way was when we were thinking about education and how people, yeah, you can actually write about how how you would teach people, or education could be a big theme as well. So another idea that we had was related to education, and essentially making sure that students are motivated to study in the pandemic. So we had things where, like, if they did Khan Academy or if they did Duolingo, then they'd get certain points that they can put towards gift cards and things like that. So they'd get a reward for studying, essentially. So that could be another sort of solution to an education problem, because we noticed that people were getting really distracted and they weren't motivated to study during COVID-19. So that was a problem that we tried to tackle. So you can pick a very basic problem like that and just go. Should it only be focused on women? Well, yeah. This future, the theme of this hackathon is the future woman. So try to make it as much as possible. We understand that it can be hard, but try to make it as much possible on women related issues, because that's kind of the theme of this hackathon as well, and Meghana will get more into that as well. Yeah. Okay. Then I think I am done. If Meghna, if you want to answer any other important questions that come up, or maybe if any other questions come up with chat, Aryan or whatever, you can definitely answer them.
Yes,
But yeah,
definitely.
so
Okay.
thank you everybody for listening. I have to actually leave right now, but Meghna will be carrying on.
Yes.
So yeah, bye.
Can you just make me host
Yes,
or you leave?
definitely.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Ansh. That was
Ansh.
amazing. For the rest of you who joined a little bit late, Ansh Gupta is our youth president of Shooting Stars Foundation, and he's won a number of hackathons. So, he's more than eligible to run this hackathon. Thank you, Ansh.
Thank you.
Okay, on to
Bye.
the next event.
Bye.
Meghna. So again, before we start the event, I think a few speakers did not arrive before. So I want to, can all of you please come again, 90 seconds on your video. So our speakers, our dear speakers will know you guys are real.
Yeah.
So once more, I'm not taking a photo this time. I've taken it already. So, so we have 90 people on the screen. So it'll be very nice to say hi to everybody. All our speakers with the pink background there, the adult speakers with the pink background, say hi to them. Oh my God, that's a number of, yeah. I was asking Ange, how do I append the country? There's so many countries here. Hi, everybody. Oh, Emmanuel, I love your hair. Okay, nice. So Sherry, okay. Few more videos, please. There you go. Okay. Thanks, everybody. On to Meghna.
Hi, everyone. So, just a quick introduction about me. My name is Meghna. I am a incoming senior in high school as well in California, and I'm just helping run this hackathon because I really believe in this Shooting Stars Foundation mission. So yeah, that's why I'm here. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to our Women in Tech panel. Thank you so much, panelists, once again for your time, and thank you participants for tuning into this amazing opportunity. So basically, I am going to give a quick introduction of the panelists, and then they will explain a lot better than I can who they are and what they do. So first, we have Alexit, who is the Chiron Training and Knowledge Manager, where she designs and creates online and on-site training modules, as well as certifications for Chiron customers and partners globally. She believes sharing knowledge is a key to personal success. With over 15 years of experience, her mission is to help people learn at least one new thing every day. Isla, please feel free to explain more.
Hi, everyone. First of all, it's great to be here and see all of you and your ambition and your desire to enter the technology world. So it's great. If I want to explain a little bit more about myself in just one sentence, basically, I believe that the power of people is whatever it is that they know, and they will be able to use that power if they share this knowledge. So events like this is a great opportunity for you to share your knowledge with more girls like you and to win the hackathon. I want to wish you all best of luck in the hackathon.
Wonderful. So our next panelist is Soumya Narasimhan. Soumya is the Senior Engineering Manager at a prominent tech company. Prior to this, she had worked in Intel as a lead manager. She has a vast experience in wireless communication algorithms and architecture development, as well as in-depth knowledge in DSP architecture development and developing DSP firmware. An extremely sharp and intelligent lady whose work ethic inspires everyone around her. Soumya, please take it away. I think you're still muted.
Yeah,
Okay.
now I'm able to unmute. Thank you, Meghna. There was a
No
tech
problem.
glitch here. Hi, folks. It's a great opportunity to be here in front of all of you young women. It's so inspiring to see you all. In fact, we are more than happy. We actually look forward to having all of you in the tech area. We'll talk more about it. Thank you, Shooting Stars and Lata, for this opportunity. So I've been in this industry for over 20 years, gone through the different facets of coming up in the ladder, being a probably the minority in the industry. So it's a great experience, and I think tech is the way, is the future. So I really hope all of you get inspired after this panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So our third woman in tech panelist is Hema Sundaram. She is the head of enterprise data analytics and business intelligence at Portland General Electric. Along with 20 plus years of experience in data and analytics, she has worked as a consultant in Infosys and across America, Europe, and the Middle East. Hema's accomplishments include senior manager at Edison, managing Hadoop analytics, and much more. She is an extremely innovative and passionate leader whose core focus is on value creation. Please feel free to expand.
Sure thing. It's such a pleasure to see so many budding scientists, budding engineers, budding future leaders of this, not just our nation, but the world. So I'm going to be learning a lot from you through this hackathon. And I want to thank Shooting Stars, Lata, Meghna, and my peers here who are on this call, because it's such a great opportunity. Wish we had such opportunities when we were growing up. So thank you. Looking forward to talking to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. So last but not least, we have Preeti Padmanabhan, who is the head of platform product management at Freshworks. She is a strategic problem solver and connector who brings teams together to create exponential value for companies, nonprofits, and communities. Over the past 20 years, she has served in various nonprofit boards focused on economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, women, children, and education. She recently won the 2021 Silicon Valley Business Journal Woman of Influence Award. Preeti, please. Oh, she's not able to unmute. Oh no. 1 second.
Yes, thank you so much, Meghna.
Okay, no problem.
This is amazing to see so many women, young, aspiring women in tech. So I'm really excited to be here like everybody else. And a couple of things that I want to share is that if you set your mind to something, you can certainly achieve it when you are passionate and you put your focus and drive. And also while you're doing it, make sure you take people along with you. That would be my couple of strategies. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, so that is the end of the introduction. Thank you once again. It's amazing to see how much you all have accomplished. So my first question is, how did you actually get started in tech? Hema.
So I started my education in electrical engineering and computer science. I got admission in both medicine and engineering, and I chose engineering. My mom is my inspiration. She got married when she graduated from her 9th grade. But she's such a smart woman, and learns to solve issues that are pertinent to day-to-day life. So we used to live in an apartment complex where, every day the motor has to run to get the water up to the tank, and then the water comes down, right? So that's simple process. And so this motor will fail every Saturday, or on days where you need water first thing in the morning, the water stops. And then the electrician has to come, water doesn't flow. So my mom decided that she's going to learn how to fix this because she got tired of waiting for this person. And then she learned, just a 9th grade person. But then she taught me about DC motor, torque, rotor, coil, copper coil when I was like first grade, first standard, second standard, etc. Barely 6 years old. So she also taught me to never give up. So mud used to go into this pipe, and then the water completely clogged. So she used to go take care of things from the top of the terrace to bottom all the way, and everyone in the complex used to admire her and wait for her to come fix the problem. So she taught me about problem solving, about never to give up, and also interest into physics. That's how I started my career. My mom is my inspiration.
That's so sweet. How about you, Eilert?
Wow, that was a great story, Hema. So basically, as a high school student, I did very well and I had very good grades, especially in the math department. And after I wanted to search for a first degree, I thought to myself, this is an opportunity I really have to use. So this is for me to all of you, use the opportunity given to you. So since my grades were really good, I was able to apply to a degree in electrical engineering. And that's exactly what I did. So everyone around me was mostly men. We were 3 girls out of 100 students. And that kind of walked along with me throughout the years. And I'm really hoping for your generation, the story will be different and there will be a lot more women in the tech areas, in electrical engineering, communication engineering, any other technical areas, of course, coding, computer science, and so on. So that's how I started, by seizing the opportunity.
Wonderful. How about you, Preeti?
So I actually got started in tech when I was in 8th grade. So about in my early teens. And when I first started coding or got introduced to coding, I got so inspired and excited about the prospect of making such a big impact with such a small, such a small screen in front of me. So that is how, and I think I'm very fortunate that everybody around me was supportive of that path, even though in those 70s and 80s, it was not a very active choice, right? You were not looking at tech careers at that time. It was a little early. So that is how I got started.
Wonderful. Soumya, what about you?
Yeah, thanks, Meghna, for the unmute. So when I started, I always wanted to actually go into medicine. I wanted to have a career as a doctor. I thought, oh, engineering is probably not for me, even though I had like wonderful grades in math and physics and chem, right? But then I finally decided, okay, probably I let me give a try on engineering. And I started off, I always had this fear of coding, and I thought, man, it seems like I have to overcome it. So when I started my undergrad, I actually took some courses, especially, in college and outside, just to overcome the fear. And once I started that, the confidence came up, and then I realized that this is probably one of the places I will really do well, and I enjoy doing well. And that's how I started in the tech area.
Wonderful. Okay, so so when you started out, and even throughout your career, what are some challenges or stereotypes that you faced or see in the technology industry, Preeti?
Yeah, I'll share a quick story. I was hired as a product manager. As I was working as a software engineer, I was able to get towards product management roles, where you both manage the team that is running the technology, as well as you're able to manage the marketing and several other angles to launch a business. Interestingly, I was the first woman to be hired into this team of 8 to 10 other product managers in this company. What happened was, whenever I used to start sharing an idea or talking, everybody would talk on me, talk over, just not even pay attention. And it would be the case that even if I set up the meeting and I invited everybody to share my agenda, I would still get talked over. And there was a moment, that I was like so mad that I said, "Let me talk," and I just put my foot down and I just shared what I had to share. Right. So that was something like that was a challenge, and it happens at times. Not, sometimes it can also happen because they're just not aware of what they're doing. It's not that they're doing it out of purpose, but just to make sure that your voice is heard. It's that I recognized very early on that I need to make sure that I express my voice at the table.
Wonderful. Soumya, do you have anything to add to that?
Sure. I think, just to what Preeti said, this is pretty much an unconscious bias that kicks in because it's an industry or a people surrounding you are more male. It's a gender unconscious bias. So when you actually make a call or you try to answer or, make a point, sometimes it gets drowned. In addition to that, I don't know if many of you have heard there's this imposter syndrome that I would say 50% of the women in the tech industry, most of them have it at the beginning of the career, right? Then we figure out how to come out of it, but this is something you need to look forward to. This is one of the stereotypes. You feel you're never good enough for the job. You kind of self-doubt because you're being asked those questions. You're being, the trust that needs to form takes time. But during this time, the key thing is to not self doubt, have immense confidence in yourself, and present yourself that way, right? And even if there's anything wrong, don't be sorry about it. You can just correct it. So these are some of the stereotypes you typically have to overcome.
Wonderful. So, sort of adding on to that question, what helped you or can help others cope up with these challenges or stereotypes, Violet?
So basically, to add to my great colleagues here, at the beginning when I started working in this very manly group, I faced some cultural differences in terms of areas of interest. So the one thing that I decided very early on is that I'm going to find my way to have the same interest area as my colleagues, as my men colleagues. And I literally found myself watching football at some point to be able to make a conversation. Now, some days it was more interesting for me. I mean, for example, today with the Olympics going on, it's very easy to make a conversation because everybody can find the sports that you like. But yes, sometimes I forced myself to be interested in something that we will be able to raise a conversation just to start the relationship with my man's colleague. And it really worked. And it actually allowed me to enter the group. And once I entered the group, I was able to just create conversation on other topics that I found interesting. So, yes, sometimes I had to work harder to enter that friends group other than the just colleagues group. And it works. So the effort was worth it.
Wonderful. Yeah. So, Hema, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm on the other side of the spectrum. I, from the early childhood, based on the upbringing or whatnot, I speak up. So the impression that I was leaving on people that I did not realize for a longer time was Hema is aggressive when you speak up, and when you speak for a good cause. They expect you to be poised and calm, speak less volume, which means lower number of words, and then there is no passion. What the heck? I love to live. I'm aggressive like anyone else, but it is perceived as something else. So perception is something that that I'm going to ask my friends and peers here. You cannot change perception, but you can listen to feedback. To listen to feedback that continues and considers, and learn to give feedback and receive feedback at the same time. So if it is your men peers, learn to give it to them. How you say it, just say it, and then receive it also. It's up to you to decide whether you want to follow that or not. And another thing I want to leave you with is, this is a rat race. You're entering into the technology area where things are changing by the second. So to keep up with the race, you need to learn. You need to learn every second, every minute. Otherwise, you're outdated. But information is available in abundance. So where do you start? I started focusing on from customer all the way out. Whatever you need to bring the best to your customers, to your parents, to your society, to your community, put them front and center, and then start off from there and learn everything that you need to do to serve them better. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so my next question is, what is something that you learned after you started working in the tech industry that you wish that you knew before you started? Preeti.
So actually, this is something not just for the tech industry, but anybody who is pursuing their careers. What I realized a little late, maybe like 7, 8 years into my career, is that I have to get a mentor, not just one, but multiple mentors who can guide me on different career paths, who can guide me on how they overcome the challenges that they've faced. Because initially, when I was a software engineer and I was changing different roles in the company that I was working, I was having a lot of fun. I was really enjoying. But what I saw was I was not moving forward in my career. And there was something else that I had to learn to discover. And so when I formed a mentorship circle with a few mentors that I could go and ask, and then I was able to then figure out like, okay, these are the things that I'm not doing. I'm not talking about all the great work I'm doing to everybody else. So that is a great thing that changed the trajectory of my career.
Wonderful. Soumya, what do you think?
So, one of the things I felt is, you need to you really need to find a champion for yourself in the industry. So in the area that you're working in, it could be directly within your organization. It could be even outside organizations, but within the company. The reason is, that's one of the ways where you see the bigger picture. When you're actually working in a small task or a small feature, you tend to focus on that, deliver it, right? The view is pretty small. Whereas if you look at the view from 10,000 feet, that changes significantly. You are able to get what it takes to actually move up in your career. So I think just to what Preeti said, right? Sometimes that view comes in either through mentors or through champions. And once you get those anchors in the industry, you are able to actually have a good career growth. Right. So it's just not necessarily that you have to be good in what you do. Yes, you have to be really good in what you do, show the passion, but that alone is not enough to move yourself up in the industry. And you really, especially as a woman, you have to find the anchor, the champion, and the mentor for you to actually move on.
Wonderful. Ayla, Hema, anything to add to that?
Yes, absolutely. I think that you should aim high, find someone who achieved what it is that you're trying to get to, and then communicate with them. Be bold, approach them. If you want to be a software engineer at some company, go to LinkedIn, find someone who's already doing that and contact her or him. It doesn't matter. Hi, my name is Ayelet. I was wondering if we can talk about what it is that you do and what was your journey to get there. That will help you set up the goals for your journey. And people love talking about themselves. So you will most likely get yes and acceptance to such invites. So as my previous speakers said, surround yourself with successful people that will help you be successful on your own.
I want to let the students know that there is a model called PI model. P stands for performance, I stands for image, and E stands for exposure. So if you are not performing at 100%, 150% of what is expected of you, you're not even at the table for any kind of discussion. You're out, you're out. The image is something that you carry for yourself based on your beliefs. On it's not just wearing good clothes is very important. What you wear is very important. What you stand for is equally important as well. The last one is the exposure. So the performance part of it is only 20% of that pie. The image part of it is another 50% of the pie, and then the 30% is exposure. That exposure you get through mentorship. That exposure is by adding yourself to the professional bodies, to stand up for what you believe in, to be able to speak up, and being in the right place at the right time, and being able to speak up. So look up on this pie model. That has worked for me. That's what I follow even today. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so my next question is, why do you think we need more women in the tech industry? Ayelet.
So first of all, why not? I mean, we are over 50% of the population. We should be over 50% everywhere. So my first answer to that is why not? If I want to dive into the specific advantages that a team that has women brings to the table, I think it's the vibe, if I can say so like this. It's that sense of communication that I believe women tend to do more better than men. I do have to say that it's very hard for me to point out why adding women to a team is good, because then I have to point out the differences and the entire idea and concept that we're trying to embrace is that there are no differences. So if I do have to point out, I think it's the balance. In everything in life, you have to have balance. And when a group has a ratio of the of the world of 50% women or more, then the balance is better. And when the team is more balanced, it will be more successful.
Wonderful. So, Hema, what about you?
See, I don't see this as a binary game. I don't see this as a men, women, anyone else who's out there. I see this as, let's start off with this. A playground knows no gender. Playground doesn't know. It's up to the player to make it, to break it, to reach the next level. So don't succumb to these, how many ever gender types that are out there, and that you are one of them and that you're a minority. Be at the table, man. I mean, kick ass. I mean, go do what you want to do and get the best out of what you want to do. That's what I want to say. You are there for a reason, and your wishes, your aspirations, and your goals have to be so high and so rich, and you have to fight for it. No one's going to give it to you. When we were growing up, we got participatory certificate. Okay, like in any competition you go. So we got like happy. Okay, so I got a certificate, right? But that just undermines the person who got the first place and the second place, etc. Because I got a participatory certificate. But when you go to work, there is no participatory certificate. There's none. You do what you do and you get what you are supposed to get. So forget about the fact that you're a female or a male and all that. Go there. Thanks.
Wonderful. Okay. So sort of related to that, how do you stay motivated and empowered? Preeti.
Well, the technology industry is vast. There is something new happening every 2-3 years, and for us it's very easy to stay motivated. When I started working in tech, it was about networking and collaboration. Then it moved on to security because there was so much of hacking that was happening in the industry. Then it has moved to technologies like AI, ML, which we see that Hema is an expert in that area. So as you can see, in the last 20 years itself, there have been so many transitions in technology, and there is so much to do and so much to make an impact to the world with all these technologies. So to stay empowered, what I do is, one is I keep myself informed of these technology changes, and I attend a lot of events that where presenters who are experts in this technology are sharing about their experience, so then I can hear from them directly. And I also connect with these people, right? It's very important to meet with people regularly now for virtual coffee, and after COVID with regular coffee or lunch, and then have those conversations. So that is how I stay, connected and empowered.
Wonderful. How about you, Soumya?
So in the area where I work, mainly wireless communications, right? We have like different connectivity technologies like cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. There's a plethora of new technologies that's coming up every day. There are organizations that are like, working 5 years ahead to actually know what will come 10 years ahead. So we have to be, continuously on top of what is the next technology, what is coming up. So we actually go read, even at this stage, there's continuous learning. every day we learn something or the other, right? So we completely go there, learn what are the new things, read papers, read tech courses, right? So take tech courses, like especially ML, right? When I grew up, there was no ML, but now that's the in thing. So we have to like go to Coursera, try to take the courses. Then we also have similar discussions in the workplace where we bring these new technologies, incorporate them. So even though it might not be directly in the line of what we do, but we try to incorporate these new things, ask the right questions, and we continuously learn. So that's what keeps us motivated, right? There's so many things out there that I don't know, and the passion to go and learn those just keeps us going. And I feel empowered thanks to the industry, thanks to my colleagues where I work. It's amazing the opportunity that they give and the exposure that I get, right? If all that falls in place, you're naturally empowered. That's what keeps me going.
Cool. That's amazing. Okay, so another question is, I think Hema might have already covered this a little bit, but what is your biggest inspiration, or who and what helped you become a leader? Isla.
Wow, that's a wonderful question. So I worked many years with a manager who really influenced me in the way he managed the team. We were a team of very different individuals in terms of motivation, knowledge, skills, and so on. And he was able to give each and every one of us exactly what we needed in order to excel, in order to succeed. And for many years, I looked at him and said, okay, that's what I want to be when I grow up. And it took a while until I gathered courage and left him as a manager to start my own journey. And today, people who know both of us and they ask me, what do you do? I say, oh, I became him. And that's really a big inspiration for me and a big motivation. So he was the inspiration for many years for me.
That's so inspiring. Okay. What about you, Preeti?
Um, so for me, right from the beginning, from my childhood, my mother has been telling me that you can do anything you want in your life. And that has been my inside inspiration, right? I do have a lot of role models. I do have, like, Indra Nooyi is one role model that I love to always read about. But I find that personal inspiration, looking into myself, what do I really want to be in the next 5 years or next 3 years? Constantly reflecting on and very thoughtfully shaping my life has helped me to stay inspired. Because oftentimes what happens, you do start on a job, you work on it for 3-5 years, and you get bored, right? Because we are all smart people here, right? We get bored very easily because we get quickly gather that information and we become experts. And the way I found to be self-motivated is by constantly finding the next thing in the horizon and the next thing in the horizon, and then figuring out how to get to that next thing by finding the right people around me.
Cool. Soumya, Hema, anything to add?
Of course, Meghna, I will add something. I'll give two things. One, I hope that students have listened to Simon Sinek, one of the speakers, etc. He brings out the best in the leaders and all that. So he was once at a Microsoft conference, speaking to all their leaders there. And so when the conference ended, he came out and said, 100% of the time, 90% of their managers were talking about how to beat Apple. Great. And then he went to train the folks in Apple. So he went there, he gave a speech, etc. And then when he came out of the speech, at that conference there, he said, 100% of the time, 100% of the leaders were talking about how to solve health problems for our customers, how to solve, the next thing for their customers, etc. So one company is focused on how to beat another competitor here. The other company is trying to solve some of the problems that are out there. So the reason I say that is, the motivation is not going to come from outside. You can read about everyone, you can do all those things, but it has to start from within, and who you're trying to compete with and what you're trying to fight for, right? It has to be something bigger, broader. Otherwise, you're trying to compete. You're always catching up with the other person. You're not leading them. You're catching up. So that's one. The second one is Elon Musk. See what he's trying to do to colonize Mars. And few of us in different industries are trying on the sustainability goals to leave a cleaner planet. That motivates me. The most complex problem to solve, to reduce the carbon footprint, that motivates me. A richer cause. Thank you.
Yeah, Soumya.
Yeah, so I think it's very funny when I heard Emma say that two groups of people, it's so apt, right? In my case, I just didn't inspire to become a leader. I think it was just the progression of what I wanted to do, what we wanted to solve for the company, the bigger picture, where we want to take it. I think it just happened to be a very natural thing. So instead of going and figuring out, okay, I want to be the leader, this is what I want, I just tend to look at what is the best for the consumers, what is the best for the customers. It's the Kool-Aid that we've all been drinking, and I think over the last decade it's gotten into our blood significantly. So I think that was the focus. It was not more about, okay, how do I grow, but how do I get there for the customers? What do we do something very unique? How do we solve this problem? And that critical thinking, that problem solving is immense. Actually, it gives you so much pleasure to do that problem solving. I don't think I will get so much pleasure when I become a VP of this, compared to me solving that kick-ass problem, right? So it's in my mind, it's always that kick-ass problem that I'm trying to solve than to go ahead and do this, right? So I think that's the growth, or that's the one that keeps me going. So it's not something that I just don't seek, but it's just there.
Wonderful. Okay, so my next question is, what do you believe is the future of tech, and what do you think women will play? What role do you think women will play in it, Islet?
So I think the future will have a lot of new technologies. The company that I work for today, Cryon, is involved with LPA, that stands for Robotic Process Automation. And that's an example for a new technology everyone in the crowd can start learning about and becoming an expert with. Every new technology also presents new skills and new roles. So today there is a job, LPA developer, that didn't exist a few years ago. So if you're catching the new technology on time, you're able to become a leader with this new technology. So I encourage everyone to go out there and learn the new technology that they are. You are welcome to join Cryon Academy. That's online, free, and start learning about the different roles that RPA offers. That goes the same with every other new technology. I think being able to be a beginner with a new technology really allows you to excel, to shine, and to lead more people after you. So that's my tip for you. Search the new technologies and become an expert with them.
Yes, that's so important. Before I move to the next panelist, I do want to say that if we have time at the end, panelists, you can type your questions in the chat, and we might be able to get to them at the very end. So Hema, what are your thoughts on the future of tech?
Man, it's going to be a combination of, humans running machines, machines running humans, and machines suggesting what the humans should do, etc. It ranges. You can look at, operational technologies that are sensors that are out there to, inside the office technologies, which is all these, AI and machine learning. And I'll go back to, again, there's a lot that's out there, and it's going to, something new is going to come up. Deep learning, okay, so neural nets, okay, so there's something else that's going to keep coming. In pursuit of knowledge is good, with respect to what you want to do and with respect to who you want to serve. I mean, you could become like the 7-degree holder or an 8-degree holder that's out there. Okay, it's all about that context, and in that context of, hey, I'm in this industry and this industry is so much customer focused. And in order to bring the best to that customer, what is it that I need to learn? And what is it that I need to learn fast, right? The timing, the time, the speed to execution, and that nimble learning comes into play along with the technology that you're trying to learn. It's a combination. Thank you.
Awesome. So, what do you think is something that girls should know before they consider technology as a career option? Sami.
So I want to, tell a story here, right? I think our responsibilities as women should not stop us. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Should not stop us from pursuing a career in the tech, right? And I think that is one of the key things I see that we are not prepared for once we enter into the tech industry. I see so many people who graduate in the tech world, but the amount of women in the workforce is like 3%, 6% Asians, 3% African American. The percentage is very small because they start in the industry and they eventually give up. And they give up because of their roles and responsibilities, in their personal life. And this is something that I want all the girls to know, that no, you can have them, you can have both the areas. We just need to know how to balance it, how to move forward. You don't have to give up your actual career and your goals and your ambition for this, right? There was once a time, right, when I was pregnant with my first child, and the company was asking me to move from San Diego to Oregon. I didn't like Oregon. It's very, very wet all the time. Sorry, Hema. But coming from California, I'm so spoiled with the sun. So you can say I'm a spoiled child. But then I started looking for another job within the same company with a different team, right? So I interviewed with the team, and the team was okay to extend an offer. I was 5 months pregnant, so I got all the offer, and then I talked to the manager and I said, "Hey, by the way, once I join, after 2-3 months, I'll have to go on maternity." There was a brief silence. Up till that point, the conversation was going. At that point, there was like 3 minute silence, as though someone has died. Like, I'm like, "Excuse me, are you there on the call? What's going on?" So the manager was like taken aback. He didn't know how to respond, right? Like, and then apparently he went to the team and asked, "How come none of you even found out? Like, the people who interviewed me, so you had to go back to the team and say, what is this?" Like, so I want this to change. I want this situation to change. And I see a big change, a big moment that's happening in the industry for inclusive and diversity. And that's happening even in the current company I work for. And I think all this is a significant change, right? Emma, Preeti, and Ailet, you can say the days when we were going through this motherhood to where we are right now, it's a huge jump. And please, there is more to come. So do not give up your career.
Wonderful. Okay, so Hema, I let something to add. No, okay. So my last question, I do think that everyone will have a unique insight on. It is what is some advice you have for our young women leaders entering the tech field? Hema.
Raise your hand. Don't hesitate. No one's going to give you a chance and come and say, "Meghna, can you please state your opinion on something?" They might say that outside the conference room, but inside, it's so don't wait. Don't wait till you know everything about everything before you sign up, apply for opportunities, etc. And then speak up and stand up for what you believe in, etc. Never give up. No one limits us from growing but us. Remember this. You are your best salesperson. You are your best person for motivation and or whatnot. I will leave you with two things. Perfect is the enemy of the good. So striving for perfection, that goalpost keeps moving, man. I mean, it keeps moving every day, every minute, every hour. Otherwise, you're stagnant. Remember that. So that's moving. So move along with your goalpost. And growth need not be linear. For the longest time, I was thinking, hey, from an application developer, I have to be an architect to do, a project management. And then you have to do people management, and then bigger people, and then more people, and then more people, and then more people. Like, no, 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 no. It's about what you do and how you do and what outcomes you're able to achieve. So activities over outcomes, growth need not be linear, and perfect is the enemy of the good, and raise your hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, some advice you have, Ayelet?
Yes, so I want to tell you, please embrace your failures. Failures is part of our way. And sometimes I'm coming from training world, and I deliver a lot of training, and I learn a lot about training methodologies. And one of the most popular training methodologies is to make your students fail, because after they fail, they will remember the good answer better. And that goes for life as well. It's okay to fail. All the good, most successful manager, millionaires, developers, you name it, failed throughout the way. And if I'm going back to the Olympics, so look at those athletes. It takes them so many failures before they reach the gold medal, right? And they just overcome it. And whenever they overcome an obstacle, they become stronger and they learn more. So I know many of my girl colleagues around me tell me, I'm not going to apply for that job because I tried once and failed. And I'm like, okay, so try again. And maybe you'll fail, and that's fine. Try again. So really embrace your failures and just keep going.
Yeah, that's super important. Thank you. Just before I move on, if you guys have any questions to the participants, you guys please put them in the chat. We might have a little bit of time at the end for the panel if you want to ask something to the panelists. Somya, what is your advice?
I would say keep trying. There's never a day you need to stop. Always keep your goals. It doesn't matter if you're not able to attain the goal immediately. Always make one step towards the goal every day, right? Try. Even if you fail, it's okay. Even if like you feel you're not able to, get there, that's fine. Slowly, you just crawl, take baby steps, you'll get there. So don't give up. Just keep trying every day.
Yeah. Preeti, last but not least, what is your advice?
Well, this has been amazing. I think I'm so excited hearing the advice from all the panelists. I'll just leave with a couple of things. One is believe in yourself, even if others are not showing the belief. When you believe in yourself, others will start believing in you. Right? That is very important. And do continuous learning. There's a book called Growth Mindset. I would highly recommend picking that up and seeing how you can actually learn and be the person you want to be.
Thank you. We'll definitely keep that in mind. So, to the participants, do you guys have any questions, last minute questions?
Meghna, there's a couple on the chat.
Yeah. So there is one person who said, as a teenager in Nigeria and Africa who didn't have opportunity to learn how to code early and has always wanted to learn how, where do I start from? Open question. Who wants to take it?
I think you can start with online courses, online training, online groups that you can join and gain confidence. Maybe a hackathon just like this one will give you an idea of the tools that you need to know. And going back to something I said before, find someone who achieved what it is that you want to achieve and interview them. What were the goals what were the steps that you did along the way? What do you recommend me to do? And I believe that your first step is asking this question. And now that it's asked publicly and out in the open, you will understand what are the next steps that you have to take. And best of luck with that.
Well, awesome. Okay. Lena asked, do you guys have any other book recommendations?
Oh, yeah. quite a set of books that are here that I have around me that I can, Daring to Lead by Brené Brown, Becoming a Multiplier, and then Lead with the Heart. And so there are too many books. I'll put some of them in the, everything around
Chat.
me is about books. So I'll put some of them in the chat, we'll do that.
Okay, awesome. I love reading, so absolutely
Anyone
love
else?
book
Any other? I think that'll be
recommendations.
interesting. That'll be an interesting
Uh,
question to all of them.
I added a couple more besides the growth mindset. Couple more books are Leadership and Self-Deception and I'm Okay, You're Okay. Those 3 books are really critical, I find. And also I put in the link to my podcast because we review 2 books every month. So you get new book ideas every month through that.
Awesome.
So in
I
addition, right there, sorry, Meghna, in addition,
no, I
only
was just
one
gonna
more
say.
book that I think really changed. I don't know if you've read this Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow by Daniel Kahneman. That's a game changer, right? That completely tells you how the brain works. Now, it's not about it's not about leadership or anything, but it just tells you how you have to use your brain a different way in your day-to-day aspects, right? I think that will go a long way in whatever path you're picking, wherever you are, right, at whatever age. So I think that has been a really good book for me.
Awesome. Okay, I'm just gonna ask one more question. She says this might be an odd question, but since it's all online, how do you manage your eye power? Oh, never mind. I didn't even read the entire question. Well, does anyone have an answer for that?
Every 1 hour, stop and look far out of the window or something like that. That way your eyes will get a rest and you'll be able to carry on.
Okay.
I'll add to that. So one of the things that I realized very early on is I need to have a practice, like a health routine, which combined exercise and meditation. So I meditate 1 to 2 times a day where I get to close my eyes and I rest my whole body. I would highly recommend that. And now I even started teaching how to do it. So highly recommend that for everyone to learn.
Wonderful. Okay, so that is all the questions I have for you guys, the panelists. I did have one question about the projects, what the judges will be looking for. So a lot of it is like creativity, right? How well you solve the problem, how creatively you solve that problem that you're targeting and you're trying to solve. Some of it is code, not too much because I know you guys are a lot of are very beginner. A lot of it is your presentation, right? How you pitch the idea, how you tell people, oh, you should buy our product or you should visit our website. So those are some things that the judges will look at when they are scoring your projects at the very end. Yeah. So if for the hackathon, a lot of people are on a wait list because we can only take so many teams. If you have not gotten an email about joining Discord or something like that, you have been placed on a wait list. So any future hackathons that we have, you will be able to join those. The hackathon next week, we already have so many teams, and they have a separate Discord to join. If you guys want to reach me or somewhere else, I can put my Discord tag in the chat. Yeah, so
Meghna, you want to round this up? Yeah, round this
yes, wrapping up.
tech panel.
Just quickly, Meghna, there is a question
Yeah, sure.
here about, if you're shy, how do you open up your confidence? I just wanted to answer that. Shreya, I'm an extreme introvert. You will not believe this. I don't like to connect with people. You will not believe this one bit. You will not, because there are some things that you do for your job. Okay, so a fine blazer, whatever color coordination, like you don't show a particular color or, not a particular color. Okay, so you can do all of that. But you need to be able to speak up. If your voice is not heard, you heard it from Saumya, etc. So there are some things you don't have to go unnatural from your normal self, etc. But if you have to be with 10 people, you have to be able to have a good conversation. whether it is about sports, whether it is about, anything else that you can think of. So learn to build that conversations. It'll build your confidence. It's a vicious loop, okay? Just like winning is contagious. Once you start having that conversation, you want to talk more, you want to listen more, you want to talk more again. So that's all. I just wanted to answer her question. Meghna, please.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so with that, we can wrap up our Women in Tech panel. Once again, thank you so much, Hema, Preeti, Ayala, and Soumya. It was super inspiring for me, and I'm sure a lot of the participants here. You guys are incredible. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us. And yeah, thank you so much for coming.
So Meghna, can I add a little bit to it?
Yes, of course.
Can you hear me? Okay. So where have you heard that 90 participants joined in the beginning and stayed till the end? Right? I mean, people were glued to this. I mean, this event just opened up, and it's just not for the girls and younger kids in the call. I think it's more for us. It's more for the adults to get more inspired with each other, right? So Meghna, you were such a lovely MC, very, very sweet hearing your voice.
Thank you so much.
And such interesting questions, right? I mean, I guess the speakers loved those questions, and you could see that. You could see the answers, flowing through. And Abhi Saxena, say hi if you're on the call. He mentored Meghna. Abhi Saxena from ZS, he mentored Meghna for the call. So thank you so much, Abhi, for your training.
Thank you.
She performed well. Your training was successful. Eyelet, you're a calm and charming personality, right? But you're so deep, like, who would imagine you were in robotics and AI? So I think what you prove is you can still be calm and composed, but garner that respect from everybody, right? So that I learned from you in this call. Preeti, such huge accomplishments, and basically your assertive nature. I mean, not only you proved your history, whatever accomplishments, great accomplishments you made, that is because of your assertiveness. But even in today's call, we kind of see that. And then when you told about meditation, oh my God, so that's the secret sauce, right? I mean, it's not what you see outside. It's not like and somebody told about Olympics. It's not about the success and the winning you see on the war ground. It's like what sweat and blood you did before, right? And that's meditation. I mean, that's one thing I will take from here. Soumya, your problem solving nature. That's the one thing I got from you, is your problem solving nature, your grit and determination, and the way you spoke, like, okay, what if I'm pregnant, right? I mean, it's like, what are you talking about? So that story definitely touched me. And Hema, oh my God, what a lovely storyteller, right? I mean, that all of you may agree with me, right? That the passion, the genuinity, right? I mean, that just comes across. I mean, that's one trait I think all of the 90 of us here have to learn. We can accomplish anything, we can kind of, go to the highest of our careers. We can be the best in, whatever, but that genuineness, to help others, to appreciate others very genuinely, right? That is something that I think some of us may not have it, but I sure want to learn it. And overall, what a wonderful way to start a Saturday morning. Really want to thank each and every one of you, for your amazing and valuable time. Time is money at this point, right? And for the audience, right? I think this was a wonderful opportunity for all of us. We didn't expect this. This has come out really well. I want each and every one of you, no matter whether you're a boy or a girl, I see a few boys here on the call, take one thing from this session, right? I mean, so many wonderful thought process came across. You don't have to do everything. Just take one thing, right? You have to promise that you will take one thing that resonated with you and say that you're going to follow that. In fact, we're going to send out a survey right after this call. I'll send it out in this chat. And you can tell what you liked about the call. You can mention names, but you will have to tell what is the one thing you're going to follow. And we're not going to come back and see if you're following or not, but that's one thing we really want to do. Once again, thank you, everybody, to all the speakers and the audience. Thank you.
Lata, you're awesome. All the best, students. Go rock.
Thank you so much, Lata.
Thank you so much.
Please don't hesitate to connect with us on LinkedIn. We are always there to mentor you, guide you. Any questions, please connect with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so the rest of you can stay on, and we have a wonderful mentor, Aryan, who will teach you HTML and web design. So don't leave yet.
Absolutely. Yeah, don't leave yet.
Okay. So give me a second to screen share.
Before you do get started on that, we do have a recording of this, and it is live streamed on YouTube. So if you want to refer back to it at any time, you are able to do so. Yeah.
Yeah, so to introduce myself, like Anj, I'm from Washington High School, and I'm also going into 12th grade. And so today we're going to be learning HTML. But before we get started with the presentation, make sure to tell me if I'm going too fast or if you have any questions at any point. Okay, so can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, so let's get started. Today we're gonna learn HTML, but before that, we need to know what computer science is. So computer science is the study of computers and computing processes. When we start writing code, what we're essentially doing is we're giving the computer instructions. But computers only understand like ones and zeros. So we have coding languages to be able to convert commands that humans can understand to commands the computer can understand. So here are a few examples of coding languages. We have Python, which is mainly used for web and game development, as well as more advanced things like AI, which is artificial intelligence, and ML, which is machine learning. We have Java, which is used for mobile, desktop, and web applications. And we have JavaScript, which is mainly used for UI, which stands for user interface, and web applications. Moving on, we have C++, which is used for applications, animations, and games, and HTML, which is what we're learning today, and it's going to be used for web page design. So any questions about these? Okay. Before we move on, does anyone know what HTML stands for? Yeah, hypertext markup language. Yeah, that's correct. So HTML is a main language used to code web pages. Any web page you open on a browser like Chrome or Internet Explorer is going to be a web page that's coded in HTML. So whenever you type something into a search bar, that search is sent to a server, and that server responds with a web page. And there are many different iterations of HTML. So there's HTML 1 to 5. And what we're going to be learning today is the latest version, HTML5. In the image below, you can see a basic HTML page with the two HTML tags at the top and bottom, a couple body tags, and some text in the middle saying hello world, which is typically the first program you make. Okay, so let's get set up. I want you guys to go to repl.it. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. Okay, so repl.it. And I want you guys to make an account. I also want you guys to go to W3 Schools, the other link I'm sending. And so as we're going through, if you have like, you're confused with something, you can always look here, and this will have a detailed way for you to see all the code and try it yourself with the editor and work through the code. So let me close this. And I'll give you a few minutes to make an account. So to make an account, you're going to go to sign up, and you can create a username, email, and password, or you can continue with Google, GitHub, or Facebook. So I'm going to go with Google. Yeah, you could use Sublime Text 3, but I'd recommend using REPL.it because REPL.it has collaborative features which Sublime Text probably doesn't have. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to make accounts. When you guys make accounts, tell me in the chat so I can continue. Yeah, we're gonna probably use REPL in the hackathon, but you guys can also use other editors as well. You guys are starting to finish signing up, so I'm going to get started. So what I want you guys to do is go and create a new HTML, CSS, and or JavaScript file, and you guys can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it just HTML. So go and create the REPL, and you're going to see a screen with a bunch of code here and an output page as well as your files here. So today we're going to only have HTML, which is an index.html, and tomorrow you guys are going to learn how to use JavaScript and CSS, which is in script.js and style.css over here. Okay, so does anyone have any questions or any trouble getting onto REPL? No? Okay. So REPL is a platform to code online. So the neat thing about REPL is that you can, which language do I use? So you want to use HTML, CSS, and JS. So there's going to be, when you go to new, you click here and you can see HTML, CSS, JS, or you can click right here and you can create it. If you can't find it, you can just scroll down and you'll eventually find it. Yeah. So the neat thing about REPL is that you can run your code and show others your website without worrying about a lot of the server stuff. On top of this, you can share the code to people working with you and collaborate easily. So I guess it's kind of like the Google Drive for code. And I'm going to give you another minute to finish and then we'll start. And if you can't create an account, you can just take notes. Your link isn't responding. You can just search REPL and it'll be the first result if you can't find it, or if the link doesn't work. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the individual components. I'm not gonna go into a presentation mode so I can switch between REPL and slides. You want me to send the link again? Okay, so I think what you guys can do is just search REPL.it and you can go here to sign up in the top right corner. And that's how you find it. If the link doesn't work, just do that. Yeah. So let's get started with elements. So an element is an individual component of HTML. So it can be a paragraph, a heading, a table, a list, divider, link, or an image, as well as many other elements. So here we have an image of an element below, and we have a greater than sign, a P, and class equals paragraph, some text in the middle, which is called the content, and we have an ending tag with a slash before the P. So this whole entire thing is called the element, and the start tag is what's between the first greater than less than sign, and the end tag is what's between the last greater than less than sign. In the middle is the content. So tags mark the beginning and end of an element, the opening tag, which is here, which is the P, and the closing tag, which is the one with the slash. And tags contain characters which indicate the tag's purpose. So P stands for paragraph, and H1 stands for header. So why don't we go into REPL and put that down. So let's go to body, some space here to write code. P, and we have a closing tag. And inside we have some content. So hello world. If we run it, we'll see on our output, we have some text with hello world. And what you can do with this is you can copy this output, you have it on a new tab, and you can see your code and everyone else can see your code. So now let's go to H1. Here we have heading 1, which is a larger text. So if you put hello world here, you'll see that it's a lot bigger. And in addition to H1, we have H2 to H6. So I'm going to go and put all this down. So we have H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. And as you can see, they're all going down in size. So H6 is the smallest, which is smaller than the normal text. And we have H1, which is the biggest. And I can share you guys the link to the presentation in chat. Now let's go to other parts. So we have the HTML tag. So after doc type HTML, which indicates that we're using HTML5, we have the HTML tag, which marks the beginning and end of the HTML code. And we have the head and body tags. So the head contains the title of the page and meta information about the page, and the body contains the actual content of the page. Emanuela, if you can't get into REPL, I think you can just take notes or listen closely. Yeah. So here we have the head highlighted. So I'm gonna space everything out. So this is the head, and here you can see we have a title. So if we change the title from REPL.it to first website, we run it, and we go into our page here, we'll see that on the top it says first website instead of REPL.it. And let's move on. And does anyone have any questions about tags and how they work? No? Okay. So if you have any questions, if you're confused, you can always go back to W3 Schools and you can see everything you need. So you have elements here, and it'll explain to you all about everything about elements. So the first thing on an HTML page is the doc type, which tells the browser which version of the markup language the page is using. So here we have exclamation mark with a space, doc type in all caps in HTML. And notice with this tag, we don't have it on the bottom and we don't have a slash here. So this is the only tag where you wouldn't want to have, or one of the only tags, you wouldn't want to have another tag with a slash at the bottom. You don't need it. Okay, so we can move on. Types of elements. The paragraph tag offers, or the P tag offers a way to structure your text into different paragraphs. Each paragraph of text should go in between an opening paragraph tag and a closing paragraph tag, as shown in the below example. And HTML has 6 levels of headings, which use elements H1 to H6. And while displaying any heading, the browser adds one line before and one line after that heading. So if you can see, we didn't tell the computer to make another line, but the H1 tag has a property where it adds an extra line every time you have another heading. Okay, so we go here, we see a picture with all the headings and the sizes of them. Okay, so here are some other useful tags. We have the BR tag, which is an empty tag that adds a break line. So if you want to have hello world and you want to have another space between this hello world and that hello world, you can add a break line tag and they'll add a space. We have HR, which is an empty tag that adds a horizontal line. We have the B tag, which adds a bolded text, the I tag, which adds an italicized text, and the U tag, which adds underlined text. So why don't we go and put all this down? So we have the HR, which is a horizontal line. We have the BR, which is a line break. We have the bold, italicized, and underlined text. So bold, close it. Okay, if we put text in here, we'll have we run it, we'll see, we'll have 3 different hellos with different formatting. And if you want to have a space between them, you can always use the break line and it'll add a space. Let's clear that. And does anyone have any questions? What does HR mean again? So if you see this line here, it's a horizontal line. So HR as a horizontal line between H6 here and the break line here. So it's mainly used for headings. Okay, let's move on. And we have lists. We have unordered lists and ordered lists. So OL stands for ordered list and UL stands for unordered list. So an ordered list would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an unordered list would be like bullet points, but you can also have like arrows and dashes and things like that. And we have list item, which is just an item in the list. So if you want to make a list, you would have, or if you want to have an ordered list, you have OL, and you want to close the tag, and you'd have a list item in it. So LI /LI. Okay. So and neat thing about ordered lists is you can have numbers. So let's say 1 hello world. Okay, and if we have UL, which is unordered list, we have an unordered list here with a bullet point. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this code, all of the code. I'm gonna put it in the chat so you guys can have it. Oops. I'm going to give you guys a minute to copy that and look over it. And does anyone have any questions about that? About any of the tags? No. Okay. So now we have hyperlinks. So hyperlinks, you just click on them and you can go to another page. So here we have a href, link a page as well as a name. So an example of this would be a link to Google. So why don't I copy this? If you put it in, we're going to have a link to Google. So the thing about REPL is that when you're having it inside the editor and to the right, you can't go and click links, but in your external page here, you can click the link and it'll take you to Google. So a good thing about links is that you can go to other parts of your website if you want to have multiple pages. For the header and the tags H2, oh yeah, that's a mistake. You're supposed to close it with H2 and H3. You have to close it with the corresponding one. Yeah, my bad. It does matter. Usually with other editors, it'll show an error, but REPL is really forgiving with mistakes, so it usually just fixes it automatically. And can I go over BR again? So BR stands for break line. So you see how we have three lines of text here? We have hello world, and Google. So in between those is a break line, but in the text here, it's all one after another going to the right. So if you want to have it similar to the list here, you would have to add a break line. So if I go and I add a break line to these, what it will do is it'll have a line in between these. So now they're not all on the same line, they're going to go one after another. Okay. Like I said, you can always go to W3 Schools. I'm going to put the link again so you guys have it. And you can see every single thing you need here. Okay, so let's move on to attributes. So we have ID. So ID attribute gives a unique ID to all of the tags in the document. We have BG color, which is just the background color for a tag. We have the text tag, which is in the body to give color for the text, and align, which aligns the item to the left, right, or center. So why don't we do background color? I think we're going to go over ID and that more in the CSS class tomorrow, but we'll do the background color. So as you can see, it's used to give the background color for a tag. So if we go to the body, put BG color equals blue, we'll get a blue background, hopefully. And we have the text tag, which is used in the body. We can put a color, so I'll put it white. We'll have white text, except for the hyperlink, which you need to edit with CSS to change. And if we move on, we have align, so you can align text to the left, right, or center. So say I want to have this paragraph in the top. We want to align it to the right, but align equals right. And I'll go to the right over here. Okay. So does anyone have any questions about attributes and how to use them? And also there's many more. These are not all of them. So if you go to W3 Schools, you can see there's a ton. So you have source for images, we have width and height, we have alt, and a bunch of things like style. Yeah, but these are just the main ones that we're going to see. Okay, so let's move on. Here's an example of a body with a blue background and yellow text. And we have a heading which is aligned to the right, as well as an unordered list with pen and pencil. So now we have the div tag. So the div tag is like a divider or a section. And say I want to have only H2 to H6 aligned to the right, I can have a divider and I can have the align right tag on there. Can we have a different background color for every line? Yeah, you can. Yeah, but you can have the divider tag to put many elements in a group into one tag. So we can have div here and we can close it. Okay, and we'll have H2 to H6 in a different section. And if you want to have align to the right, it'll align it to the right. It'll have H2 to H6 aligned to the right. And you can also have dividers inside the dividers, which, so if you want to have these aligned to the right, but if you want to have like H5 to H6 having something else, so if you want to have say you want to have a different tag, so if we go to attributes and you want to change something here, you can always add that to this div. But I'm going to close it because I don't want to complicate this too much. Okay. And let's talk about how do you think about making a website? So there's 3 steps. You visualize and draw it first. You break it into a bunch of sections and you code one section at a time. So for the page we have here, we have, I think, 3 or 4 main sections. We have the top headings. We have some text here. We have a divider, another section here with some more text. So usually when you want to design, you can use something like Paint or Google Drawings. So I'm going to use Paint. So let me change my screen share to share my whole monitor. I go to Paint. Can you guys see Paint, by the way?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So I can go here and I want to have a web page and I want a heading here. And so I'll have some home contacts, etc. For a heading. We'll have a title here. We'll have a list here, and we'll have a list down here. So now we have, I think, a few sections. We have the top here, we have the title, and we have the list. So now that we have this, let's start coding it. So first, I'm going to clear out all the code we have. Before I do that, I'm going to put that in the chat. And let's start. So in Paint, we want to have, first we want to have the horizontal line. So we'll have HR, and we'll have a horizontal line at the top, and we want to have the title. So let's have H3, and we'll have home here. And then when we have home contacts, we'll have a few things: home contacts and meet the team, which can all be links later on. You can change that. And now we want to have a title in the center. So after the horizontal line, we can have another H1. Close the tag, and we can have our website. Make this equals center. So now we're going to have, in the center here, we're going to have some text saying our website. Okay. And now we want to have two lists, an unordered list and an ordered list. So let's go and add that. We have the UL, which is unordered list. Close it. And we have the ordered list, which is OL. Okay. Add some items. So let's add a few list items. So now we have a few items here, and now we have a basic frame for our website. So let's clear that. And now say you want a background. So we can go and to body, kind of BG color equals, and let's get another color, like gray. And now we have a gray background. So does anyone have any questions on how you would design a page and how any of this works? No? Okay. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to design a basic web page like that. It's like about me, and you can just talk about yourself. And you didn't really understand how I did this. Oh yeah, and how to share work with others in the group. So if you want to share work with others, you can click invite here, and you can invite them by their email. And I'll explain how this works then. So at the top, we have home, contacts, meet the team. And that is this H3 right here, which just says in the body of the tag for the H3 tag, it says home, contacts, meet the team. And then below that, we have a horizontal line right here. Then we have our website, which is aligned in the center. And after that, we have the unordered list with 3 items inside of it, as well as an ordered list with 3 other items. And unordered lists have bullet points, and ordered lists have numbers. So how do you change the text color of links? You can do that by using CSS, and I think we're going to get back into that in the next class. But usually, whenever you have a question or you're stumped, the first thing you would do is go and search it up and see into Stack Overflow or W3 School. So how to change text color of a link in HTML. So here we have some CSS here, and then we have HTML below. So that's how you change. You have to have like a bunch of CSS. What is the range of colors for background color? Yeah, so you can get any color you want. So as you can see in the colors tag are part of W3 schools. Put it in the chat. You have over 140 standard colors, and below there you can see you can have a style tag or a style attribute, and you can have background dash color with RGB as well as a hexadecimal color. So let's put this here. We'll have a dot 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 with this color. Okay. So, does anyone have any trouble getting where I am right now? I can just go over everything and help you guys now. What's LI? So LI stands for list item. So here we have unordered list, and inside of a list we have items. So we want to have like LI to put an item in the list. We can't just like put a bunch of text here. We have to have list item instead to indicate that you want to have a bullet point here. What is the script for? You can ignore that for now. You guys are going to cover it tomorrow in the JavaScript and CSS part. Okay, so there are a few more online resources: Google, Stack Overflow, W3 Schools, and YouTube tutorials. So say I want to have a nav bar. How to make a nav bar in HTML. You can search it up and you'll get a W3 Schools link, and you'll probably get a Stack Overflow link below that. So Stack Overflow. And here it'll tell you how to make a nav bar. So if you go to W3 Schools, you can see that they have an unordered list. And if we put it in our code at the top, we run it, it has a nice header right here. And they have some CSS, which causes it to appear one after another. So let's clear that. And yeah, you guys can just work on making your own web page and talk about yourself in that web page. And if you have any questions on how to make something, or if you want to make something and you don't know how, just ask me and I'll help you. How to add an image. So if we go to W3 Schools, we'll see images. And here we have the image tag. You want a source for the image, and then you want alt if the image doesn't appear. So why don't we go here to the try it yourself. And we have basic page. I'm gonna go and put this link in the chat so you can come here. So we have a header, which is called HTML image at the top, and we have an image tag. And notice how you don't have a closing tag here. It's just one opening tag, and you don't have to put /image. So image is one of those tags you don't have to put it. So you have image source equals image underscore and the image name. And there's two ways you do it. You can have a link, or you can have the file. And if you want to have the file, you're going to have to drag the file. You're going to have to download it and put it into REPL. But usually you're going to be using, for web pages, you're going to be using the actual link to the image. And then if the image doesn't load, you have an alt. So let's like mess up the image. And it won't appear, but it will put the alt. And after that, you have the width and the height of the image. So I can manipulate it and I can make it really, really wide, or I can make it like a lot taller. And it'll stretch out the image. For the recording, it's going to be on YouTube. So if you go to the live stream and go to the channel, you'll see it there. Okay. Any other questions on how to add things? How can we add buttons? Okay, so you can have, there's a tag in HTML called input. So input, close it. And if you look at our code, it'll have some text, and you can have ID equals button, or you can change it up. So if we go to W3 schools, I think there's inputs here. Let me see if I can find it. Yep, here. So you can have these type of inputs, and we have a bunch of types. So you can have type equals button if you want to. So type equals button. And you can just click on this button here. Okay. How do we make it bigger or smaller without setting the height or width manually? You can have a bunch of elements in a divider, or you can change it in the CSS, which you'll go over tomorrow. How to add additional pages. So there's a few ways. You can have more files, and you can have it so it goes from one file to another. Or you can have like separate projects, so you can go from one project to another. So here I have index.html here. And if I go home here, I can also go to the page of learning HTML. What channel can you find the stream? So if we go to the Discord, you can see the channel. How do you make a comment on the coding? So we go to W3 schools. You can see that there are comments here. Link. Here. And put in our code. You'll see that it doesn't actually apply. So you don't see this, but if you remove the tag, you'll have a bunch of text. Okay. Yeah. Can we embed something in HTML? Yeah, you can. So if you go to W3 schools, HTML embed, you can go here and you can see you can embed things like that. So if we go and put this in our code, we'll get whatever it is. We don't have the file in our code, so you don't see it, but if you have the exact link to it, then you'll see it. Because REPL doesn't handle links very well. Okay, and make sure to fill out the survey before August 1st, so you can win 3 Amazon gift certificates. Or 3 people can win Amazon gift certificates if they fill it out. So I'm going to make a navigation bar in HTML now. So here we have a bunch of links inside the divider. So I'm going to put that here. And we have 4 links, which if you click on, you're going to go to different pages. So usually if you don't know how to do something, you know, let's just search it up and you're going to probably find something in W3 schools. And if it's really specific, for example, how to elements on both sides, you'll probably find something in Stack Overflow here, which you can just copy and add. So here is some of the HTML code. And then this is some CSS code. You can ignore this for now and just put it in your code, and I'll or someone else will go over it tomorrow. So they have elements on both sides of the top tag. Any other things you guys want to know about? How to use embedded audio? Okay, so that's actually a good question. How to add audio. So there's another page. If we try it here, we have audio controls. You can ignore this for now, but just put in the code. And here you have a source for the audio. So if you click on this, you're going to hear the source. You're going to hear the sound. So like other sources, you have to have the actual file or a link to it. And you have to say the type of what the file is. So if it's .mp3, you can put .mp3 or .mpeg, and you have to put audio. And here, if it doesn't load, so if you really mess it up, link, it'll put something like your browser does not support the element, or it'll break here. And here is the link. And if you guys are looking for like how to make a really good website, because as you can see, the website we have currently is very basic and doesn't look appealing. So if you want to make a more appealing website, you can always go and like search a website. So cool website design. And you can go and online, you can find design. So here, like for this page, actually, you have a nav bar, and then you have text in the center as well as images everywhere, and a lot of buttons which are in orange. So kind of like styles and things like that to look for. So if we have here, You can see there's a bunch of links with cool designs. And the majority of making your website look good happens in CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets. And you basically add colors and like attributes to your basic elements in HTML. Okay, so during the hackathon, if you have any questions, you can always ping tech mentors and we'll always help you. And the main thing I want you to take away from this is that if you ever have trouble with something and if you're really confused, just look into W3 schools, and if you can't find it there, look for tech mentors, because this has every single thing you'd need and more.
Does anyone else have any last minute questions? I'll take that as a no. Aryan, do you have any last things to say?
No, I think we're good then.
Wonderful. Okay, so this wraps up our first day of workshops and the Women in Tech panel. Tomorrow we have another round of workshops starting again at 8 p.m., right? 8 a.m. PST, right, Aryan? Just making sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
8 a.m. PST. Yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's event. I had a lot of fun talking with the Women in Tech panelists. Yeah, I have nothing else for you guys. You know what channel, Aryan?
Yeah, let me go and find it. Some
Yeah, so
announcements.
Aryan's going to send the channel in the chat. Thank you so much, guys, for coming today. Oh yeah, wonderful. That's the that link will have the
I'll have
YouTube
everything.
we'll have the YouTube for you to refer back to our all our workshops today. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for showing up. Bye.